And then we talked a lot. You talk about music, appreciators of music. You're kind enough to include me in that list of people, but you composed a piece for your friend who passed
Mm-hmm.
away, who had his own listening room. He had a room
Yes. Yes.
just to listen to music, just to appreciate music. And
Yes.
you composed a piece for him called Home. So I felt a real kinship with that song, even though you were trying to convey a very different message as a tribute to your friend who passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is not that different because it's all about human emotions and connections
Yeah. Yeah.
and things that bring us together as a human race. And that was a very beautiful
Agreed.
that was a very
Agreed.
beautiful piece, as was the piece for your grandmother that was entitled Autumn. She was Russian, as you said, and you have the very unique gift, I think, in being that most of us from this area do not have, in that you are half Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother, speaking of authors, your mother is a world renowned author, first class novelist and writer. Tell me her name so I don't pronounce it wrong.
Christina Gorcheva Newberry.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
And your father is also a very talented musician. Randy Newberry, brilliant on the harmonica and played in bands all of his life, and another exceptional guy. And I know that they're very proud of your achievements. But tell me a little bit about the piece for your grandmother. That really touched my heart because your grandmother died a very short time after my father passed away.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And I think we share that kind of grief bond in that happened together. So that piece was very resonant for me. And then I want to talk.
Yes.
And then I want to talk about the the piece for peace, which is going to be the lead single of the album. So.
Yes. Well, basically, I had written that piece. I had always, it's so sad that I didn't write pieces for her or for say Larson when they were alive. But I would write songs, and my grandma multiple times had named a song something like Autumn or Autumn Breeze or something, and so it seemed like everything I wrote, she's like, that one should be called Autumn. And it was funny that she always said that. So this piece, when I really thought about it, I said, well, it is um, like autumn. So that's it's for her. She loved music. I mean, she was always curious, even in her late years. She always wanted to hear new music. She wanted me to send her what the latest stuff was, and she was just the biggest supporter of the arts. If there wasn't my grandma, I don't think my mom would be a writer, and I don't think I would be a musician. I think it, you know, and film also definitely comes from her. So I'm eternally grateful, and I think of her all the time because it's like you remember. I don't know if this is how it is for you. If you remember your father or something, but to set you back on track, so you have an issue or something, then you imagine what your you know loved one would say. They're not there, but you think that, oh man, yeah, this is what she would say, and she would want me doing this. I'm just imagining her looking down. So, so yeah, that's how that piece came about. Just thinking about her.
Well, first of all, I think if I can speak to that,
Yes.
that if you are an artist of any kind, if you are a musician, if you are a writer, if you are a painter, you ultimately have to believe in a higher power, in another world beyond this one, because if you don't, that kind of boxes you in. And if you're a creative person, I think you must believe in a higher power, or you don't have the power to create as you should. And I think it is inevitable, as emotionally driven people, we say, why didn't I write this for my father when he was alive? Why didn't I do this for
Yes.
my grandma when she was alive? But I think that you have to know, and I know you already know, that she hears it, and you know that she
Yes.
is proud, and you will see evidence of that everywhere you look. If a cardinal flies in front of you, I've always heard that's someone saying hello
Yeah.
from heaven. You will see winks, and you'll say, "Oh, that's her telling me that she likes this."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, if you're, yeah, completely right. Continue.
yeah, I think that she absolutely is hearing it, and I think that she absolutely is proud of it, as is your friend Larson. And
Well, let me tell you. Actually,
sure.
he lived a very long life. He was 89 years old,
Hmm.
and he sort of like a grandpa to me, but he's a poet, and I'd love for you to read his stuff. Um, he lived in Blacksburg, and he was a professor, poet, Virginia Tech, and he was also a renowned tennis coach. They won. They were champions many times. So he's yeah, you're right. I mean, for him or for my grandma, I I do, of course, believe, and I definitely believe in a higher power. And often people don't talk about this, but as an artist, I completely agree with you. Art just doesn't make sense without that, because uh, art is not really rational, and it's not material. It doesn't really make sense without understanding that it connects us to other people and to some higher power entity, call it God. I do,
Mm-hmm.
and
And as do
otherwise, yeah,
I. Uh,
yes. And then I I just think that when you're playing music and you imagine there's people that would go to a concert, sit there for 2 or 3 hours, and just listen to essentially vibrations coming out of a box for a piano concert. None of it makes sense without understanding that it is a transcendental experience. It's not material. It's not plug in X, get Y. It's not, like taking a pill. It's otherworldly. No one can explain it even, why they can try, but why these two chords do this to us. Why we love these two. We don't know. We don't know. And that's just that mystery of it. The mystery of music led me to become religious. I didn't have any concept of anything when I was little, and only when I was an adult, about 5 or 6 years ago, I had sort of let's say, a breakdown in my music career. I was trying to do the solo classical piano, and I was in conservatory, and I just hit a wall. You know, didn't know what to do next, was not inspired, etc. And that's when I started, seeking God and getting interested in um, Christianity, and yeah.
and I think there's
Sorry,
a
we didn't mean to take it there,
no,
but
no.
that's
It goes
yeah.
where it goes. But I think there's a big difference in religion and spirituality.
Yeah.
I am not a religious person.
Yes.
I am a very spiritual person, because religion has religion you can put into a box, or people put it into a box. And if you
Yes.
put that into a box, if you put God into a box, then you
Right.
limit what God can do in your life. If you put art into a box, if you put
Yeah.
music or writing or singing or painting or any of that, if you put that in a box, then you lose the gift of what that is. And I don't think there's a better way to find God than through art, because you look at his nature and his creation and look
Yes.
what a beautiful artist he was, and how anyone can say that happened by accident or just by chance. It does not compute. And it's the same way with musical talent, artistic talent in any way. um
Yes. Yes.
and I think, you know, where, usually a song paints a picture with words, you are such a visual artist in that what you play paints a picture, and it very much like watching a movie. I see the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's playing Leopold, and
Yeah.
he's chasing after this mouse, and the mouse is inside the piano. So he's
Right.
to the outside, the audience thinks he's doing this great concerto, and he's really trying to stomp on this mouse or whatever that's
Right.
inside the piano. So I could see that I could see that at one point in your playing, because you were just so all over the 88 keys. And and then I could see you in an old movie house playing the music to a silent Charlie Chaplin film.
Right, right, right.
and
I
and
can, yeah. I'm a
and
big fan as well of Charlie Chaplin. So that there in my room here, this is what's interesting that you said that. In my childhood room here at the house in Bland, it's very minimalist. I don't put up like a million posters.
mm-hmm,
Just my friends put up a million posters, but I have very little in the room. But what there is, I think maybe there's two paintings hanging, okay, or
mm-hmm,
drawings,
right.
and one is Charlie Chaplin.
Uh,
So it's very, very big for me. So I take that as a compliment.
well, that's definitely what you can envision. You could also envision a Steve McQueen car chase,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in
Oh,
in some of those things.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
you could be an Oscar-winning film score in a minute, to me. Um, but
No, I appreciate that.
let's
Yep.
talk about Piece for Piece for just a minute,
Yes, yes.
and
Um,
why
yeah,
that's
go ahead.
important to you.
Well, I wrote it when the war broke out in Ukraine, and
And this would have been when?
well, 2000, what is it, February 23rd, 2023.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's been over 3 years. But
Mm.
I grew up with Russians. My family is Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, grew up with Russians and Ukrainians because prior to this whole mess, we all hung out and we were friends, and everybody came from a similar place, and it was like family.
Mm-hmm.
But this situation has, well, obviously, it's taken very many lives, but it's also um, led to dissolution of friendships, and just really has fractured the community. And I understand, Ukrainians say, well, I don't want to talk to Russians anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. But I know that makes sense. But it's very sad. And so I wrote this piece, and it has the same melody essentially for the whole time. But what's around the melody is constantly changing, it never repeats. So it's in different keys. There's the same melody works in minor and major. So you have the minor, which could be the war, and you have this hope for this major section, the ends in major, which is the peace. And I wanted it to be not peace for Ukraine, peace for Russia, peace for really any. There's a lot of wars happening, but peace for peace, not peace for victory, whatever that means. I think when millions of people have been killed, there's no victory. That's horrible. It's just horrible.
No
There's
one
victory.
wins. That's right.
Yeah, no one wins, and so that's why I wanted it to be called that. And it's going to be our first. We had a lot of strong reactions from people in the studio who came and listened, and Bart immediately was like, "That's it. That's the single. That's the first song. We're doing that first. We have to get that out there." And we're going to do a video. I won't tell you what our idea is, but we hope it to be dramatic and moving to people. So,
very good. And let's close. You said you're going to talk a little bit about Bart, so let's do that to close out.
Yes. Well, Bartosz Losecki is a composer that I met in Manus when we were both doing our undergrad, and we became friends. And then over the years, we've worked on a lot of things together. We've done for his album, it's called An Android Among the Clouds, which you can find. I am on that album, and then also we made some music videos, which, as I said, I do film. I actually made one of those. And so we've been collaborating for a long time. And when I told him about this album, we're very different. And so we have different approaches. And I really like having a set of ears that points out things I would never hear. I would never hear them. And so he really thinks as a producer and composer, and really thinks about the sound and how it should sound. And so for this album, we want the piano. He was like, I told him my idea to do this album. And he said, if you're going to record solo piano, just don't do it like everyone else. Don't just do the same old, as they call it, this is how he calls it, the greatest hits of piano sound, which is piano is far away on a stage. There's huge reverb. You can't hear the details. You're sitting in the audience. That's what all piano records sound like. And the music could be great. But he said, why doesn't anyone experiment with the production? And so our album was recorded with 20 different mics, 20 tracks. These mics were everywhere. We were close to the strings, far from the strings, under the piano, on top of the piano. And you can hear, you could hear a pin drop, basically, or you can hear every detail. And it's very big sounding. And so it made it hard to record because you could hear every detail. So you can hear every mistake or even my breathing. So we really got up close and personal and are trying to do something different. And that was his vision, and that's why I wanted him on it, because I'm focusing on the playing to make it as the best it can be. And I don't want that playing to then be buried in a not very good sound. So that's what we did, and he is now currently comping the album, editing together the best takes. And that's where the real work begins for him. You see, I'm done as far as recording. All I have to do is, get this thing out there and do the music video. But I'm very grateful to him, and you should hear his music. It's very different from mine, very huge orchestral, just lots of instruments, massive, also cinematic. I think you might agree, but he does film scoring.
Well, thank you very much for spending this time with me. I want to have a chance to talk to you once the recorder is off. So thank you very much for
Yes.
giving me this time. It was a gift to hear you play, and you are equal the human being that you are the musician, and that is quite the gift to the world. So thank you for letting me be a part of that.
I really appreciate it, Beck. I always cherish the opportunity to talk with you because you're very thoughtful about these things, and I don't think um, everyone really has that same um, approach and interest in everything. So I appreciate it.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you, sir. And it's a privilege to call you a friend. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man.